Okay, and we are live. Great. So, hello. This is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and I'm here today for the Gemini full moon discussion. So, for people who are new to me and my channel, I am an astrologer, coach, and intuitive. My background is that I have over 25 years of sales, marketing, and business development experience in corporate Fortune 500 companies, and I retired from my career early using the moon cycle. So I cannot express how much I think you gain benefit and richness in your life by connecting with the beauty of the moon. So here we go. Let me share my screen. Oh, I'm in a good mood today. Ever since Mars went into Sagittarius. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Mars went into Sagittarius. I have been feeling good. Yes, I have. Okay, great. Well, I am calling this Gemini full moon time to go. And the reason I'm calling it this is because this is the last lunation we have when the North Node is in Gemini and the South Node is in Sagittarius. And we have been dealing with this energy since May of 2020, where we as a collective have been called to have a beginner's mind, take in new facts, release dogmatic views. And it's so in line with what is going on with the world. We are in a new world with this global pandemic. We've got to have develop new skills, be open to be taught new things in order to reach the North Node, which is our due north, which is where we're going to by releasing some of the South Node shadow traits. And that is that. Okay. So I love this quote by a Zen monk, Shunryu Suzuki. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the experts, there are few. And this is the North Node in Gemini, the South Node in Sagittarius. The South Node in Sagittarius shadow can be someone who thinks they know it all. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Thinking oneself is God, thinking oneself is the authority is a shadow. And as I said, with the North Node in Gemini, being curious to take in new information gives us endless possibilities. So today I'm going to talk about the signs, the moon phase family, anatomy of the chart, what it means for you by sign. You can look at your sun and your rising. If you want to throw in your moon, you can do that as well, and some prompts. And my assistant is going to add timestamps, which was a request from one of my followers. So hopefully they'll be there. So if there are things you just want to jump to, you can do that. So the luminaries and the signs, and we have gotten really intimate with this Sagittarius Gemini axis, the axis of communication. At this time, the North Node is in Gemini at 1 Gemini, and it moves approximately 3 minutes a day in reverse order. So January 18th, the North Node will be moving into Taurus. So it's time to wrap up these learnings, and a full moon's about release. So really think about how you can reflect on what you have learned, what you're ready to release in order to start the next journey when the North Node goes into Taurus. So as we know, the sun is our identity. It's that life force. It's that outward pushing energy. It's the conscious mind. And it's in Sagittarius, which is mutable fire. It's ruled by Jupiter. And it also rules the 9th house in the natural chart. So it's all about how can we expand? How can we be adventurous? how can we go where no one has gone before? The Star Trek is such a Sagittarius show. So some archetypes are the explorer. There's also the storyteller. This is the axis of communication. Sagittarius can use their instinct to take information and knowledge and weave it into this beautiful story. A lot of comedians are Sagittariuses, or have strong Sagittarius signatures. It's like blunt, funny, bold, inspirational. Also can be about religious topic, philosophy topics, legal topics, lawlessness on the shadow side. One of the big themes, as the South Node has been in Sagittarius, has been about police misconduct, police brutality, all of that kind of stuff. We kicked off the nodal switch with the George Floyd killing. So we've had a year and a half to really be working through these energies. And we just had, at this last eclipse, this eclipse season was with the Kyle Rittenhouse trial and the Ahmaud Arbery. He was murdered, the trial for his murderers. So again, we started off around, this kind of like vigilantism and all this other stuff, and we ended with that. So you can think about that, and you can watch some of my previous videos for more information. The moon is about the subconscious. This is our inner world. This is what the beauty of the moon cycle. It's connecting the outer world with the inner world. The moon moves our emotions, our feelings, our habits, our behaviors, our moods. It speaks to how we need to be nourished. And it's in the sign of Gemini, which is mutable air. So thinking about Gemini qualities, Gemini rules all communications, and it reports to Mercury. Mercury rules the sign of Gemini, and Mercury rules children, siblings. We also can see issues with small pets, although that's a Virgo topic, really. But yeah, it's the writer. It's the social butterfly. Geminis can be so witty, just this ability to turn a phrase in just such a unique way. It's also the reporter, someone who takes in the facts. And at the highest, Gemini is, the pillar of the sign. It's like takes the information from the heavens and distills it down into understandable information to those of us here on Earth. It's quick thinking, curious, flirtatious. Now, a big shadow side of Gemini can be like scattered energy, being so overscheduled. I have Mars and Venus in Gemini. I have to manage, it's like squirrel, 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 like staying focused. It's a very mutable. So, how can you remain focused? How can you let go of some of that scattered energy? How can you avoid anxiety is something to think about with this full moon. Really watch your mental chatter. So one thing that's really interesting about this moon phase family, and the moon phase families are where your chart is triggered at approximately the same degree over every 9 months over a period of about 2.5 years. And often there is this larger unfolding story where what starts in the dark starts to get life. And now we're at the culmination of the full moon, when the sun and the moon are as far apart as they can be. Well, this new moon was a solar eclipse at 0 degrees of Cancer. It was in June of 2020. And it was 0 degrees of the cardinal signs like Cancer, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. 0 and 22.5 degrees of those signs are world points, where events that initiate can have a larger, can get a lot of prominence. This was the day before, and the sun represents the king, the authority. So this was the day before Donald Trump who was the former president of the United States, had this rally in Arkansas. Was it Arkansas? Is that the right state? It wasn't Alabama. It's an A state. Ooh. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was like during COVID, he had this big rally, the solar eclipse. There was something else in the chart. It was like the king is dead kind of energy. There were all these empty seats. It was just a big flop, and it's kind of a signal, the initiation of him getting ready to lose the election with this eclipse. So think back to then. Think back to what started in your life around June of 2020. All is being revealed now in the sign of Gemini. And you can really think about what we've been through with the sun in Cancer. Back then was about, how we started this new relationship with home, family, and foundations. I think it was becoming clearer to people by that time that, the pandemic was going to be sticking around. And then this March, there was some real clarity when the sun was in Aries about, okay, how are we going to move through this new world and stop constantly just thinking that when is this going to be over? When are we going to go back to normal? All those kind of things. How can we assert ourselves in life with the fact that we are in this new reality was kind of what I think became clear to people at the first quarter moon this March when, we were experiencing what we were experiencing as a collective. And now all is revealed, and we've moved from the sign of Cancer to the sign of Gemini. So what information, what has been revealed to you? What is illuminated? What do you know about how you have grown, what you have learned, how your mindset has changed, Gemini, over this last year and a half? And look to where it is in your chart and look at those house topics as well. Because, there are some people who are going to be seeing big things during the week of the Gemini full moon that maybe they hadn't seen before, because there's a lot. This is a very intense time where we really have to fortify ourselves. I think we're at the precipice of things getting better, knock on wood, but there's a lot going on right now. So we really want you to take care of yourself if you can. Get enough sleep, eat healthfully. I love the holiday parties and I want to talk, but see if you can keep yourself from overindulging too much. I am doing my Prolon fast this week. It's a 5-day fasting mimicking diet, helping me reset. This is the third one I've done. They did clinical trials on this. The reason I like it is because it puts you into autophagy, where it's cellular cleanup. I can feel my body working better, as well as I've lost a little weight. So anyway, I am preparing myself so that I don't just go bananas on, at all these parties I have to go to. Okay. That was a totally ridiculous sidetrack, but this is what we do at Astrology by Celeste. Okay, so here is the chart of the full moon. And as we can see, the sun is at 27 Gemini. The sun is at 27 Sagittarius. We're at the end of the sign. So is the moon at 27 Gemini. So really look to your chart where that is, all the way to 0-1 Cancer, and maybe even a couple of degrees more. So one of the things I really love about this is that the moon is in a trine to Jupiter in Aquarius. Trines are gentle energy. There's ease, there's flow. Jupiter's about abundance. So the invitation is to really connect yourself and communicate to others, communicate to yourself, your vision of how you're going to expand and grow in your life. And first, the sun, it's a sextile. Again, opportunity. Trines are just easy peasy flow. sextiles give us an opportunity to work with the energy. So there's an invitation to have a positive outlook. We can really, there's so much going on around us. Crime is ridiculous. There's just like climate stuff, terrible storms, but how can we have a positive outlook despite what's going on in the outer world, have some hope, have some faith, have some optimism in our own lives. Now, it's really important to watch for anxiety, so that trines are easy. It doesn't mean they're positive. So you can let your mind, Gemini rules the thought processes of the third house, like the thought process is the natural ruler of the third house. So you can really let your mind spin out of control if you're not careful. So what can you do to get out of your head and into your body with the Gemini full moon? So Mercury is now in Capricorn. I am so happy Mercury left a Sagittarius where it's in its sign of detriment and is now in Capricorn, because that can help us plan. Capricorn's an earth sign. It's an initiating cardinal earth sign. It's about like figuring out what the pieces that you have to put in place in order to achieve your goals are. And it's in quintile. It's in a quintile with Neptune and Pisces. So quintiles are grace notes. They're these really soft these very soft aspects. I have had marble mouth all week. Okay. So it's in a quintile with Neptune, which is strong, and Pisces. So thinking about our dreams, Neptune and Pisces, it's the dream. And with this beautiful grace note with Mercury and Capricorn, think about how you can have access to your visionary ideas. Really a wonderful full moon to just write what comes to you. Dream big, and then you can use that Mercury in Capricorn to design a supportive foundation for your dreams. You can bring the spiritual to the practical with this really nice grace note, and you have to create space for these ideas to come in. So even if it's meditation, if it's just writing, whatever you can do to make some space. Now, Venus in Capricorn is stationing, going to essentially what looks like from our perspective on Earth, stop in the sky and then move backwards. And what retrogrades do is all the RE words. It calls for us to reassess things. It calls for us to review, renew, release, revisit. And it's about Venus topics. Venus rules relationships, not just our relationship with our romantic partnerships, but relationships with friends, relationships with business people. These are like one-on-one relationships that we're thinking about with Venus. And it's in the sign of Capricorn. So these can be long-term relationships, stable relationships, relationships that feel like duty or burden, because Capricorn reports into Saturn. And it's conjunct Pluto. And we already had the first one last Saturday. And then the next one, I believe, is the 26th. And then the last one is in early February. So Venus is dancing with Pluto, and Pluto's all about that subterranean, subconscious. It is the underworld. So Pluto brings things up to the surface that can be difficult, be shadows, in order to be dealt with. And after you have a Pluto transit, you get a present. So you do the work, and then there's some reward at the end. So relationships are going to be going through a lot. I have so many synastry readings where couples are coming to talk about their relationship, because things are coming up that they just can't push under the surface anymore. They must be dealt with. So there's a lot of intensity. So really try to treat and see, we can see right there, Venus, you see the S there, that means she's stationing, she's stopping, she's moving so slow in the sky. So it's bringing really things up. And I did stories on my Instagram about, if you haven't seen the Sex and the City reboot. It's so perfect. Sex and the City was a show about sex, Venus conjunct Pluto in the city, Capricorn. Well, I think of New York City as a Capricorn, but that's not important. But like it's a reboot. We're revisiting this show again, and there was a very Venus conjunct Pluto plot line, which I won't spoil, in the premiere episode. And then we also had the finale of Succession, which is another great HBO show about Venus conjunct Pluto, love of power, love of wealth, relationships where manipulation, Pluto can be manipulation, is a really big theme. Pluto is triangles. There's typically 3 people involved sometimes with Pluto. So people are going to be finding out, like maybe their partners have been unfaithful or spending money they didn't know about, and all kinds of stuff is going to come up to the surface. So it's really important to reassess your values. Venus rules values, money, beauty, art, things like that. It's also when Venus is in retrograde and we're in the shadow, and we've been in the shadow, it's not a good time to decide that you are going to get a brand new fangled haircut. Beauty changes could disappoint. Yeah, plastic surgery, don't do it. Don't do it while Venus is retrograde. Wait till like late February. Love what you're looking like now, because you might not like it if you do it, especially if your chart is being triggered, especially like the 6th house or the 12th or the 1st house. Look to where 11 degrees is where Venus started, where Venus is going to go back to 26 degrees of cardinal signs. Look at where that is in your chart, and that's where things will be coming up for review for you. People may come back into your life, that old relationships. It's also about open enemies. So just watch conflict with, some people are going to think they are smarter than they are and going to try to do some underneath the surface stuff that to get at someone, and it's going to come back spiraling back at them in ways they won't like. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron is stationing as well in Aries. Where is Chiron? Oh, geez. Sorry. Chiron stationing. It's been going retrograde, so Chiron's stationing direct. Venus is stationing retrograde. So these 2 planets, there's this intensity that's coming up. So Chiron, the wounded healer, there can be things around wounds, things that are stirred up. And Chiron in Aries is about wounds to the self, wounds to the head, headaches. Maybe people with bad headaches may have some issues, things like that. So I just feel like there's a possibility for raw emotions. So make sure to check on people who are really struggling, or you have any concerns about how their mental health is, or how they're doing through all of this, because they may need some extra support over the holidays. It's really a great thing to do, to reach out to someone who's alone and maybe invite them over, or just invite them to, spend some time with them, or even just a call, a card, something, because I think people will be dealing with issues. And it's actually quintile, again, the soft grace note Venus. Sorry, I didn't write it there, but it's quintile Venus, exactly, to the degree. So, and they're both stationing. So there's really this grace note where your kind words or just show of care or connection can make a huge difference for someone. So consider it. Okay. We're having the last Saturn square Uranus. It's going to be at 11 degrees. Saturn and Uranus are in a mutually applying square. This has been the story of all of 2021. Saturn is authority, rules, structure, limits, boundaries, duty. It's all about responsibility, all these kinds of things. It's all these concrete things. It's the last planet we can see. People thought it was the limitation, the limit of the universe before Uranus was discovered. Uranus just breaks things down. It shocks and awe. It's the great awakener. Things suddenly happen and come in. They're in a hard aspect to each other. Saturn in Aquarius is known for bad winter storms. I've talked to my Instagram followers multiple times about being prepared in case there is a big storm in your area where there could be like a big power outage or something. We had just recently that tornado there in aspect that was around Venus Pluto. That I'm not a weather astrologer, but Pluto catastrophe, Venus moistens things. So there may be another big storm the day after Christmas or around Christmas, because the last Saturn Uranus square is the Christmas Eve, and then Venus meets Pluto again. Oh shoot. It's either Christmas Day or the day after Christmas. So I'm worried about another storm. I went and got my little lights, making sure all of those like chargers for your phone, those little battery packs that you have, I would charge every single one of those ASAP. Gas up your car with gas. Just be prepared in case there is something in your area. Because the first Saturn Uranus square to the day was that Texas blackout, which was unbelievable, like nothing we've ever seen before. After the second one was that collapse of the building in Miami. So it's these big things. The next one, we'll see what happens, but this tornadoes in Kentucky and whatnot are part of it. But in your own life, what this can be meaning like shocks and awe. So you put Venus, Pluto together with Saturn, Uranus. This is when you find out, and it's Christmas Eve. This is when you find out something you didn't know, like something about, like, it can be sexual taboo stuff, Venus conjunct Pluto. It could be about money. It could be about relationships. I mean, people are going to find out some stuff that is shocking. And yeah, so yeah, just be prepared to deal with this. This will also be someone like just going ballistic at the holiday table. So you really want to watch your emotions. If you see someone else struggling or like really starting to escalate, I really wouldn't recommend coming back at them. I was on this Clubhouse where it just got so ridiculous. I had to hang up because there was this there were just two guys who were just like trying to one up each other, it's like a peeing contest. It was just ridiculous. And you can see people escalating things. And well, with Saturn square Uranus, the escalation can get so nasty that you can't even believe it, especially with this Venus Pluto, or even like result in like physical fighting and stuff like that. Yeah. Also, if someone is in a abusive relationship, if you can help them get out without, putting yourself at risk, that's a good thing to do too, because you're seeing a lot of stories about women being killed by their partners, and Pluto's also death in the news, and especially by poisoning. Anything tastes funny. Your husband or your wife hands you a cup of something that tastes funny, you put that down. Yes, you do. And go get yourself a new drink. Anyway, I digress. Okay, I'm talking too long. Venus square Vesta is the asteroid of what we're devoted to. It's an asteroid that can represent sisterhood. It can represent the home, the physical home. When your Vesta is activated, you can move or renovate or what have you. And Vesta is in the sign of Sagittarius. So this could be like what you're really devoted to, what your ideals are. Now it's square Neptune. It's approaching a square to Neptune. So there can be some confusion around things or disillusionment with Neptune. So think about your commitments and your spiritual commitments. And if you're feeling like Ah, why am I doing this? It's conjunct asteroid Sisyphus, and the myth of Sisyphus is he was punished to push a boulder up a hill by the gods, by the Greek gods. And as soon as he got to the top, that boulder would roll down to the bottom of the hill and he would just need to push it up again. So I think it's really a call to remember your why you're doing this, why you've chosen this path, why this is important to you, especially if it's something you're really committed to, and get a reset on that. Now, if you're just doing things out of duty or obligation, or you think that's what society thinks you should be doing, it's really a time to let things like that go. Oh yeah, and with breaking free in our own lives with that Saturn square Uranus, I got on such a tear with that. We're breaking free of self-imposed limitations, especially those we're just supposed to do because, whoever said, the Joneses said that's what you're going to do. We're in a new world. We don't have to do those things anymore. Not that we ever did. Excuse me. Okay. So the Sabian symbol for the full moon, and remember the Sabian symbols are this clairvoyant Elsie Wheeler sat under a tree in the 1920s in San Diego with Mark Edmund Jones. And she was a blind clairvoyant, every degree of the zodiac, she channeled an image. And he took it down and wrote it down. And then this brilliant woman, Linda Hill, wrote a book where she gets into each of the Sabian symbols. I love this book. You can get she has a website you can go on where you can buy it or buy the PDF, and she just does a beautiful job of writing out interpretations of each of this. But what Elsie said was, society granting bankruptcy to him, a man leaves court with mixed feelings. So this could be thinking about, it's been a really tough time and a lot of people have had difficulties and maybe there's a lot of disappointment. But I think once Jupiter goes into Pisces, we're going to have a sense of renewal and that there'll be possibilities open. Venus conjunct Pluto, the United States is having its Pluto return. This is there's a lot of fears about what is going to happen to the economy and economies around the world with this Venus retrograde and the United States Pluto return. We have rising inflation. So this to me speaks to like that bankruptcy. It speaks about, what's going on with monetary policy. So stay tuned to see what news we hear over the next couple of weeks on financial matters. Okay, let's run through these quickly. Let's see. Oh, shoot. I am at where I wanted to be done talking by now, and I'm not even to the side. So this, we're going to do the sun. You listen for your sun and rising sign. And then what I do is I'm going to talk about what house it's in. And this is Wisdom of the Oracle. We're going to do this quickly. Okay. So when we think of a full moon, we think about what we can have gratitude with, what we can release, what we have learned, what has been fully illuminated. So think about this in the topics of the house, as well as the oracle card that I pulled. Okay. So if you're a Gemini, this full moon is in your first house. And the sun is in your 7th house. So if you're a Sagittarius, it's the opposite. So think about this. So I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to do the axes to make things faster. Okay. So Gemini, if you're a Gemini sun or rising, think about what these topics are you releasing? What do you know? All that stuff about yourself, your appearance, your identity, the mask you wear for the world, how you present yourself to the world. Oh, and this is the never-ending story. So Gemini, I really want you to really think about your relationship with anxiety, your relationship with analysis paralysis. What can you let go? A relationship with overscheduling, Think about that frenetic energy. How can you calm it down? I highly recommend the Insight Timer app, or any of these Calm or any of these meditation apps are really good for Gemini signatures. Especially, I have found I've got Mars and Venus in Gemini. I've found this week I've had some weird dreams and like difficulty relaxing to go to sleep. So think about how you can work on that, Gemini, and make some changes for your higher good. Now, Sagittarius on the opposite side, this is the sun is on your shining in identity, and the moon is releasing in relationships and partnerships. Okay, that's too complicated. I'm just going to go one by one. Okay, let's just go to Taurus. I'm trying to get fancy here. So Taurus, think about your possessions, your money, your values. Venus is in Capricorn. That is in a trine to Taurus. So there could be some nice stuff happening for Taurus. I certainly had some nice stuff happening, but we'll see if that changes with the retrograde. Oh, because I'm a Cancer rising, so Capricorn's in my 7th house. So far, it's been good. Let's hope I don't find out something crazy about something. Okay, anyway. Oh, clean it up. So Taurus, it's in protection. So this can be about, don't get into other people's business. Really watch your relationships, because it could backfire if you get too involved with other people's business. Also, and especially, Gemini, yeah, especially money moves. I was like, I really wanted to say something to someone who's in my family who's not the most responsible financially, and I pressed my lips closed. Yes, I did, and I recommend you do the same. Yeah. Unless you have to, yeah. And you can also think about, we like Taurus, we like to enjoy those sensual pleasures at the parties, and we can enjoy ourselves without overdoing it. Yeah. And maybe I'll put my Prolon code. If you want to do this fast, I'd highly recommend it after the holidays. If you feel like, it was recommended to me by someone who has autoimmune issues. Her doctor has her on it. So that's what got me started, because I felt like my body was being really sluggish, and it's really like helped my body start working more efficiently by doing that cellular cleanup. Plus I lost over 8 pounds. So, I was happy about that. Okay. Aries. This is in your 3rd house, around siblings, around their local community, around 3rd house rules mental processes as well. So you can think about all that stuff. And let's see. Community. So Aries, think about how you could be in community with your local community. If there are things you need to release around that with your neighbors, don't get in a fight with your neighbors at Aries. With this Venus Pluto, Aries is a cardinal sign. Venus is meeting Pluto and they're squaring. So Aries is ruled by Mars. So you can, once you get going, you can, the ram can be a little aggressive. So think about how you can have good relationships with your local community members, if you can. Sometimes you need to fight about things. Sometimes there's, it's appropriate, but let's think about where we don't have to. Okay, Pisces, you are going to think about home, family, roots, foundation, your most private self. And I pulled the happy, happy card in protection. So Pisces, how can you let things go? Especially Pisces sometimes can get in their feelings about things that some of your more gruff family members maybe say or do or what have you. How can you lighten up or have joy or let things go? Just let it run like water off your back. And also with Gemini, maybe it's your siblings who are difficult, or their spouses or whatever. So think about lightening up, Pisces, lighten up. use that beautiful quintile with Venus and Neptune to lighten up. And maybe declutter your house. Your opposite sign is Virgo. Think about how you can do some decluttering and maybe physical letting go with Vesta squaring Neptune. Okay. And so I pulled the community card again for Aquarius, and Aquarius rules the 11th house naturally. It's all about community. Saturn is in Aquarius. So a lot of Aquariuses are like separating from things. What community do you need to release? Are there people in your circle who you've outgrown or what have you? Or do you just need to transform the relationships with Venus conjunct Pluto? So think about that. And maybe you overdo it with doing so much. It's in your 5th house of children, dating, sex, creativity, fun, that sort of thing. What can you release around those topics? Or maybe it's like, you know, you want to celebrate in community. Okay. Capricorn, 6th house, daily life, health, and chop wood, carry water. Whenever we have a full moon in our 6th house, we think about how we can have rituals and routines that support ourselves. If anything comes up physically, go straight to the doctor. The new moon was an eclipse. So yeah, think about that. Yeah. Capricorns, but hopefully it's just about, you know, having good routines and rituals to support yourself, doing the mundane tasks. You're not going to believe this. I pulled community again. So really a really important time for us. Both Saturn and Jupiter are in Aquarius to be in community. Let me read this in case there's other messages that I want to say. It's about belonging, being seen and understood by others, like-minded connections, a sense of family and friendship, knowing your place in the world. So a really call, this is the 3rd sign that's gotten community, a call for us. I mean, people are going to potentially have to help out their local community. Like, look what happened in Kentucky and 5 other states with that horrific tornado where parts of towns are just gone. So they're all having to work together in order to help each other. Yeah. Try to find some joy in community. Yeah. Think about how there's abundance, because we're coming together. Lots of people last Christmas didn't celebrate it with their older relatives or any relatives, or did really small stuff. Now people are doing big stuff again. With Venus being retrograde, people can have expectations that aren't met. You thought it would be so great, especially, you know, some parents, you know, can't wait to get all their kids and stuff together. Then some kids start fighting with each other or this, that, and the other. And, you know, how can we have the joy in the community and let go of petty squabbles so that we can, you know, have a smoother holiday? Because the holidays are very difficult for some people. Yeah, really just brings up a lot of sadness and all of that stuff. That's why I said with Chiron and Aries stationing, reaching out, because the full moon, Christmas is next week. And so we're not going to have the last quarter moon will be after Christmas next Sunday. So it'll be in full moon will be in effect during Christmas. So yeah, could be intense. Okay, for Sagittarius, you're going to think about your partners. You're going to think about your best friends, your romantic partners. This is serendipity. If you're single, you may meet cute someone this holiday season, Sagittarius. Yes, you may. You just had a solar eclipse in your sign. Serendipity, whereas luck and opportunity meet. Sagittarius, Jupiter rules you. Be optimistic. Jupiter's going into Pisces on the 28th of December. So that can bring all kinds of abundance to you. So even if things have been a little difficult or what have you, it's been rocky. The South Node has been taking stuff away, paring things down. It's getting ready to leave and go into Scorpio. So yeah, get ready for some nice stuff next year, I think, for a lot of Sagittariuses. Of course, it depends on your whole chart. You can come get a reading if you really want to dig in deeper. And I'm also going to be teaching classes again. Yeah. Okay. Or do coaching with me. Yeah. A 3-month coaching can be great. Okay. Oh my God. For Scorpio, I pulled community again. And also Scorpio, think about your 8th house of psychological processes. This is like death, other people's money, all of that sort of thing. Sex, death, and taxes is 8th house. So think about what you can release about control over other people, I think is what, yeah, with this Gemini full moon. Yeah, or being nosy. Scorpio can be very possessive or jealous or nosy in other people's business. How can you mind your own business to have a better community? How can you let down your fears of being hurt or being exposed? Scorpio can be very private in order to connect with others in community. You're the healer. You're here to, and Scorpios are the best people. If something really hard has happened, the best people to help you with. So if you have a Scorpio friend, you're struggling, maybe reach out to them. Okay, Libra. It's 9th house. How can you expand? Yeah, this full moon is in a trine to you. Higher learning. What new skills have you learned? Do you have to release any dogmatic views around relationship? Libras can be really rocked during this because Pluto, Venus, which rules your sign, is meeting Pluto in Capricorn, which squares Venus. So, which squares Libra, excuse me. Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, relationships, and all that. And Venus is currently in the sign of Capricorn. So your ruler is in a square formation with you, and it's meeting Pluto with all this intensity. And the card I pulled is Mending in Protection. So this is about heartbreak. Yeah, it's about forgiveness. It's about sometimes, being Libras can be people pleasers. So it's a really good time for Libras to reassess your values and how you're going to be in relationship. And I'm just going to read this because this is so perfect for Libras. This is the girls. Heartbreak is a strange healer of souls. Our grief strips away our masks and loosens our tight hold on our separateness, where we view ourselves as I and the world as it. Loss allows us to see ourselves as part of a larger scheme, opening us to sympathy, empathy, and dependence on others in the moment when we can't hold ourselves together. And it leads us to become one with the greater whole. Pain and suffering is part of life, and none of us is immune. Can you view this loss, pain, dissonance as a way back to source, your higher power? You will never be left behind. You're loved. And one day you'll look back and know this is true. So think about the pain you've had in relationship. Think about how you've grown from it. Think about how you've learned from it. Think about if you're struggling, reaching out to someone and all that kind of stuff. Think about like when you're forgiving people, make sure it's merited and you're not just doing it because you like balance and harmony and all those kind of things. Yeah. Watch for what's revealed. Okay. Virgo. Milk and honey and abundance. What a perfect card for Virgo. This is a self-care card. And it's about, if really watch your habits, if you're doing something to avoid like overindulgence to avoid really dealing with your feelings, although Virgos tend to be very health conscious. So maybe you could be like exercising like crazy or something because you have body dysmorphia. I don't know. Just really take care of yourself, get good sleep and all of that. And it's in the house, the 10th house of career, social status, purpose. If you are overworking yourself, if you are like doing that, maybe think about what you can release there, or what you've learned about really who you are, what you're here to do. Think about Vesta is also related to Virgo, so think about that Vesta square Neptune with the Sisyphus asteroid, and how you can like reconnect with your why of why you're doing what you're doing. Watch for being overly critical of others as well. Okay, Leo. Higher power card. So this is in the community house. So friends, groups, hopes, and dreams. And yeah, just like have some trust, have some connect with your higher power. This God, marble mouth, God, spirit, you know, Allah, whoever, Jehovah. Yeah, whoever it is. Connect with your higher power. Maybe go to church if that's, or your whatever your religious place, or go somewhere where there are people that you can really feel connected spiritually. Okay. And ask, you know, release things. Okay. Cancer, it's in the 12th house. The 12th house is the house of mysticism, secrets, self-undoing. And you've got the yin card in protection. So this is about Cancer as a sign of the mother. It can be about taking care of everyone else and not taking care of yourself. So how can you be receptive to let others help you or help take care of you? How can you release, how can you release the need to do everything yourself? A call to take care of your mental health. Ask for help, delegate tasks, be receptive when, don't just tell people, oh no, sit down, I'll do everything. Let people help you. Okay. That's the signs. And I'm gonna start giving my assistant a signal. I forgot to do it. Okay. Anyway, let me get this done. So I recommend a full moon ritual where you make space, bring in the elements. I put my crystals out at the full moon. But while you're doing your ritual where you just make space for what you need to release, I like to have a candle. I think lavender will really be good for calming because Gemini energy can make people anxious. Yeah, so, or scattered or things like that. And also like a lavender bath, a bath with lavender salts could be wonderful. That would be the water. So earth, have some flowers, some crystals. I suggest labradorite. I don't know how to, labradorite. I hope I didn't spell that wrong. Or aquamarine. Air, great. Gemini moon, great time for journaling. Take some time to write out your feelings this week, or just be quiet, silent, meditate, whatnot. Yeah, and I love doing oracle cards at the moon. What do I need to know? What is this moon revealing to me? And look for, you know, that inner guidance. Okay. And then these are just 3 things to contemplate. I always talked about thinking back to 2020, June of 2020. What have you learned about your communication style? Like being on Zoom all the time, people have learned a lot about that, or your decision-making skills. And how can you, like, just for review, not to beat yourself up, you're also going to forgive yourself for transgressions, but think about what you've learned and what you've done better. It's such a good time to reflect about like how you've come through these things and how you're doing things better or what have you. And just take some time to celebrate any little wins with a full moon. Also, how can you calm your mind and release a mental clutter, and really look at your schedule. Are you overscheduled? I am so trying to do this. I'm a work in progress, and really reassessing which commitments add value, saying no to things you just don't have room on your plate for, and like are there things you're doing that are just habit or routine and you can just let go of? They're not really adding value, especially in your work. I think it's good. So you can go to my website and download my intention setting with the moon guide. And it has 3 months of moon things. And just being on my mailing list, you'll get the new one when it comes out for January. And I do about 2 emails a month about the new moon and the full moon, where you'll get a copy of the video, as well as just some additional thoughts about the lunation. The Book of Ceremonies by Amanda Green and Tiffany Herlick is a great book that talks about all the lunations. I really like it. You might have to go to Spellbound Publishers to get that. I already mentioned the Sabian Symbol book, and Moonology is a nice book as well about all of this stuff. And Dietrich Pessin was the founder of the lunation. Okay, so where to find me? Astrology by Celeste. For the 2 people who are still watching this long video, I'm on Instagram every Sunday and Monday. So you can join me live or watch on my wall, book a reading, an event. I love doing events where people can connect and learn about their card. It's always so fun. Karmic signatures, or coaching program where we can work directly in order to figure out how you can achieve your goals, what it is you really want to do, and align with my business experience melded with the astrology. Moon Mastery, a 6-week course about the moon, is beginning again in February. And yeah, okay, I guess that's it. Also, if you like my what I do, I would love a Yelp review, and even just like my video. I always like to see a like or a comment. Okay, well, I hope this full moon treats you well. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and whatever holidays are around this time around the world. And take good care of yourself. Be prepared as much as you can for the Saturn Uranus square. And really, with this Venus retrograde, Venus conjunct Pluto, watch around the intensity in your relationships and reassess and make and transform for your highest good. At the end, you'll get a present, hopefully. Okay, goodbye.